anticipating it working. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So let's see. All right.
I'm ready with my chart that I made. I fixed it, made it look much better because it was all, because I made it really fast last time. I had the idea like 10 minutes before. I'm like, ta, 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 ta. But now I cleaned it all up, so it'll look good.
So let's see. Hi. All right. So here we go. I'm going to mute this. All right. So we are live, but we're not live on. Let's see. Hang on one sec. Oh, maybe we are.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, this would be so great. So let me,
Okay.
everyone just bear with us. Hold on.
Trying to sit in a way you can see the fire.
All right, everyone just hang tight with us. All right, so let's see here.
There.
Madelaine, you still with me? Okay, I believe that we are live streaming on the proper platform, which is so fantastic. I'm going to get the chat up and running here so that we can see that. So those who join us will be able to interact with us, which is going to be super, super fun. Okay, so hang on. Bear with me for 1 second. All right. I'm going to type in a little message. Comment if you have questions. All right, so if anybody has any questions, be sure to drop a comment here. So I'm going to leave the chat up. We're going to periodically check it, but we're not going to be on it the whole time. So don't be
and I
upset if we don't get to you right away.
I can't see the questions, only you can, I think. So
yeah, and I'll read them to you.
Okay.
So that you have them.
Okay,
when the time comes. But yeah, so I think we're good.
Ready to go.
Yeah, I think we're good. And it's pretty much 3 o'clock, almost on the nose, or 12 o'clock your time.
My time.
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time.
Exactly. So yeah, so Madelaine, I don't know if I'm feeling like maybe you and I would just like settle in for just a second and allow people a moment or two to join us.
Sure. Take a little breather.
Yeah, and it's been a journey for Madelaine and myself to sort through the technology and to get to this point of connecting here live with you on YouTube, and hopefully more people are finding us. I didn't really hear it, but I can feel it energetically happening. Oh, there.
Okay.
Love it. All right. So, of course, it is Amalia, Natalio of KarmicKindness, and Madelaine Parker, the astrologer, tarot goddess that she is. And so we're here sharing with you the energies of the upcoming new moon in Pisces. And you know, Madelaine and I were talking briefly before joining you here, how this is such a beautiful new moon. It has such a it's Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac, so it's completion. And Madelaine mentioned karmic when we were speaking earlier, so she'll be expanding on that a bit more. But I just wanted to bring in a little bit of kind of my intuitive feeling about this new moon and what it's ushering in for us. We have had numerous moon cycles in the past, I would say 6 months or so, 5-6 months or so, that have been really, really deep inquiries, contemplations, shake-ups that have, for some, rocked us to our core, have really, I'm going to use the word forced, because it has in many instances forced us to look at and feel into aspects of our life that have not been that haven't been working, that we've been trying to fit like a square peg into a round hole. And this is the moon cycle, it feels like to me, where all of those pieces that have been shown to us, all of those things that have been revealed, begin to coalesce into form, and we begin to feel this sense of peace around the change and transformation, where we're able to accept. And, you know, with the Gene Keys work that I do by Richard Rudd, he talks about allow, accept, embrace. And so we've had this period of allowing and attempting to accept, and now we're feeling the acceptance and we're able to embrace the change. So that's how it feels to me. Madelaine's going to go into more of the nitty gritty details of the, you know, the astrological energies for all 12 signs. But would you say, Madelaine, from what you're seeing in the stars, is that, am I close to or honing in pretty well on the energetics?
Yes, I would say so. And I'm going to add to that, because
Awesome.
you were touching on something with that Pisces at the end of the zodiac sign. So what I'm finding is really I get a lot of my confirmations as to my interpretations of the astrology when I'm doing reads for people, because I can see what they're going through. And I really get a group of people going through very much the same thing.
Yeah.
And what everybody's coming up against right now in my reads is up against their karma. And Pisces is the energy of clearing karma. It is the energy of forgiving. And across Pisces is Virgo. And Virgo is where we create our karma. And Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's the karma clearing time. That's why Jesus came in 2000, that the age of Piscean, Jesus was the initiation of the Piscean era, which is the last sign of the astrology, so that you clear your karma before the initiation of Aries. So you go through the whole cycle of the astrological wheel, and you're recreating karma. And when you get to Virgo is where you really create your karma by how you throw yourself under a bus. to hold on to something. Wherever Virgo covers your chart is where you throw yourself under a bus to fear control the situation. And that creates the karma, that creates the lack of faith choices that you're making. Which is what karma is, because it's going to be at your expense. So when you get to Pisces is when you go all the way around the sign, and then you get to Pisces, and we're coming up to this Pisces new moon. So everybody is being pushed to clear their karma. And so I'm getting a lot of people really having it in their faces right now. A lot of lawsuits, people with lawsuits are coming to me, and it's really clear that they're playing out a karma that they have to pull out of, in a cycle they have to break, because on the other side of their card reads, it's these fantastic new beginnings. And in order to have the new higher vibrational new beginnings, you've got to clear that lower vibration karma that's stuck in your psyche. And I'm telling you, when people lately, when you've got karma to face, you know it, and you know you're ready to kill it. You know you're ready to be done with this cycle. And so that's when you're ready to take the karma breaking action, which is to create peace around a situation with someone where you're throwing yourself under the bus. And it means forgiving them, because in the forgiveness of them, you're claiming your role. And by the way, Virgo is the pure energy of the giver, of the person who gives, but in its non-pure form, shadow point, she gives to her own expense. So when you get to the Pisces part of the chart, you're going to forgive everyone for you blaming them, for you throwing yourself under the bus and playing victim role, because you can't play victim. When you play victim role, you instantly create perpetrator. And in karma, you are the one who is creating your victim experience. And by pulling yourself out of victim mode, seeing them as an equal, and forgiving them for you blaming them for making you a victim when it was your choice to play victim. And so then that you become more empowered, because then you're no longer blaming a person that's having the power over you. You were the one who let them have power over you. You gave them that position of perpetrator. You gave them the sense of power that fed their desire to go ahead, and you allowed it. You continued in the dynamic. So when you come to Pisces new moon, you're clearing your karma. You're forgiving the person, because you're taking responsibility for your part in the dynamic. When you do that, you clear your karma, because you've taken control. You've put the responsibility onto you, and that's where your karma is cleared, because you're you're in your power then, because you are the one ultimately in the power to create your reality. So when you forgive the person and you take responsibility for your part in the karmic exchange, you've stepped up into your power, because you now know how not to do that. You've become more empowered. You haven't given your power away to another person. So that
I liken this to a situation like, you've been talking about relationships. So, obviously it's between you and another person. And with the other, whenever you have a conflict with, I'll say we instead of you, just, collective you. But whenever we have a conflict with someone else, we tend to blame them. We can point to all of the things that they've done. Now, I was just talking about this with someone earlier. If you feel stirred up, if you feel angry or anxious or badly done to or wounded in some, or the victim, just like you were saying, exactly, thank you. It's actually a wound within you. If there was no wound within you, their actions and behaviors would have no effect whatsoever. So if you think about, you may have a friend who the same exact thing happened to, and he or she is completely fine, completely nonplussed, not even phased at all. But for you, it feels huge. It's because it's like you were saying before, a karmic wound. There's something there. So for those who may be feeling this, and like you said, you're giving your power to that person to you could say they're making me feel this way. Well, they're not. They're just showing you where your wound is.
Yep.
And that's
where you agree to continue this story, that you're the victim, where you contribute to this continuance of this dynamic.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that.
And the karma is mostly about how you hurt yourself, how you're throwing yourself under the bus, how you're, because I have Virgo over wherever you have Virgo, because this is why I've been helping people with their karma, because I could see on your chart, wherever you have Virgo is where you throw yourself under the bus. I have Virgo over my 4th house. And I used to, until I studied my karma in my chart, I used to throw myself under the bus, compromise my integrity of who I truly am in order to keep my family happy with me. 4th house is family, my mother. I would alter and distort myself for my mother. And then I'm a victim to her. I would be a victim to her behavior towards me. But then when I started setting boundaries with her, by the way, clearing karma is saying, I no longer disrespect me in this dynamic. I no longer put myself under, aside to make you happy so that I can hold on to this. It's a control thing. It's a total control thing. And so instead I said, I'm speaking my truth and being who I truly am. And you get to choose how you respond, but you have to respond in a way that respects me, because now I'm standing up for myself. I no longer give you that illusionary role of being someone who can hurt me, because you're not. I gave you permission for that. So that was a karma I had to clear with my mother. And now my relationship with my mother is awesome. It's fantastic. You can shift when you clear your karma. How you know you've cleared it is the relationship with that person becomes fantastic. No matter how sociopathic or narcissistic you may have thought they were, you on some level was feeding that by giving them that power position. And so when you step out of it, and also where you have Capricorn also is another place where you're going to control your situation, when you have control issues. So you're supposed to find a balance there where you set a boundary, not be victim, and then be angry at that person and blame them and say, oh, you're just such an awful person. Well, you agreed to be the person that I could be awful to. But when you set a boundary, you say, hey, I'm not okay with that. I want to continue our friendship or our relationship. And that's not something I'm going to be a part of. Like, that's not okay with me. I'm not going to, continue that conversation. I bow out here. And that's not because one of the things with Capricorn over your house, you can set a boundary too strong. You can be, that's it. I'm never talking to you. That's it. Cut out. See, that's like too strong of a karma reaction. That's too strong of a boundary reaction. But there's a balance where you stay, because opposite of Capricorn is Cancer. So you find a balance between the heart space, the compassionate thing, the kindness, like I love your name. And you say, look, in kindness and respect, I'm not going to continue this dynamic with you. It's not okay for you to, I'm not going to continue in this conversation unless you treat me with more respect or you speak to me in a more respectful way. Or I'm not going to continue. I don't like some people come to me and like the man touches them in a way that's inappropriate or somebody. And I say, what you're going to do, you're just stop being a victim to that. A lot of women are victim to the behavior of men. You say, you know what? I don't like that. And it's not okay. You don't have to set some major, strong, awful boundary that puts them in jail or like, that's it. You're an awful, awful person. You just say, I don't like that. It's not okay. I'm not going to step in the room unless you agree to stop that. So there's like these ways that you step up for yourself and you stand up for yourself, because that's what karma is, because karma is where you allow yourself to be victim and you don't stand up for yourself. And a lot of, so you come into this life, a lot of people experience victim experiences so that they can be taught that they're energetically resonating at a victim energy. And so the universe wants to show you to get out of that. So you're going to experience yourself as a victim until you say, no, I'm not going to let you do that to me anymore. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to say no. And then you've cleared your karma because you've valued yourself. And that's what the divine wants us all to become in our journey, in our soul's journey, is to become more empowered beings. So the universe has to put you through these victim experiences until you say, okay, I'm not allowing this anymore. That's when you clear your karma.
You mentioned Capricorn. Were you just using Capricorn as an example?
No, Capricorn is always a big part of your chart of understanding where you control.
Okay, so you're bringing it up in terms of understanding where control may be in your life. So
yes,
if people want to look at their chart, look at what house Capricorn falls.
You're creating your karma in your Capricorn house, and you're throwing yourself, you're being too harsh and too heavy and too controlling in your Capricorn house as a means to control what's going on in your Virgo house. So in other words, instead of not allowing someone throw you under the bus, you allow someone to throw you under the bus, and then you're really hard ass with them, hard over the top.
Gotcha.
As a retribution. And
this is so interesting, Madelaine. I think hopefully for anyone who's coming on and finds this in their or finds this particular these houses in their chart, this may be a big aha moment. Of course, I forgot to grab my chart before we sat down, but
I'd love to do that. I'll tell you my chart. I have Capricorn over my 7th house. Cancer rising have Capricorn over their 7th house. And most Cancer people, you're going to find out, have major controlling issues in their relationships, their marriages, mega control freaks over their relationships. And my son has Capricorn over his 11th house. People have Capricorn over their 11th house are trying to control they're really paranoid about friends groups and what people think of them. And they try to control their external image, or they're very worried about. And then he's got Virgo over his 7th house. He throws himself under the bus for relationships, and he's creating karma. So you create karma over your house, you clear karma over your Pisces house, and you behave out of balance in your Capricorn house because of the karma.
I'm taking a quick peek because now I'm just so curious.
Yeah.
Let's do what's what, although now it's so tiny. All right, I don't think it's going to.
What's your rising sign? I can tell you.
Scorpio.
So you have Capricorn over your 3rd house. Scorpio very much controlling their communications, and they don't speak the truth because they don't want the outcome. They're trying to control the outcome. It's a form of manipulation. It's control. So Scorpio are learning right now, because we have Pluto in wherever Capricorn is in your house. You've got Pluto, which is taking your deep soul issue fear and helping you clear that issue. So Scorpio are supposed to learn to speak the truth and hand the outcome to the divine, not to speak with a concern of the outcome, but that's a form of control, right? Yeah. So that, and then where's your Virgo? Let me see. Your ascendant Scorpio. Yeah. So your Virgo is in your 11th house. So you would throw yourself under the bus for friendships, groups. You'll sacrifice what you need or what's right for you in order to maintain friendships, or to maintain what people think of you online, or in your friendships group, or what people think of you around. And you'll be a people pleaser, because Virgo it can be a people pleaser.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So people pleasing is karma against the self, right? So that's your Virgo. That's where your Virgo house is. And then your Pisces house, this is where you clear your karma, right? So let's go to your Pisces house. Your Pisces house, rising Scorpio Pisces, is in your 5th house. So what you're going to do is you create the forgiveness in past relationships where you allowed them to take your joy away, and you stepped into a control energy, and you restore and you heal and clear your karma, because it's across your 11th house, right? Which is the Virgo house. You clear your karma in that control, or that Pisces thing, by enjoying yourself and having a better time, and not having expectations, and not trying to have, you know what I'm saying? Like shifting to a place of joy and fun and carefreeness, and not giving a hoot.
Yeah. And I would say that's already showing up leading into this moon. Like this came to a head actually last night, like a whole thing. Yeah.
Wow,
so
interesting. And you've got, so that means you've got Pisces on your 5th house, which is awesome because we've got incredible Pisces energy coming up, everybody. We've got a fantastic couple of months coming up. I mean, the energies are unbelievable, very, very divine. There's no oppositions in this. When you have a moon in astrology, you set the month ahead by the chart of the new moon. That's the fingerprint. That's why we do moon reports, because that moon is characterizing the entire month. It'll show you pretty much what's going down for the whole month. So this new moon is so awesome. There's no oppositions. There's no squares. I mean, I just can't even believe this. It's like, and we're going to have these exaltations. Jupiter is in its own sign. It is combust, which is challenging until early April, but it's not necessarily negative. That's just a little bit of a slower manifesting for Pisces right now. But that's because they need to get more in alignment with their motives, which is karma. They got to clear karma around their motives, which is to not be fear-based and not throw themselves under the bus. Pisces do that a lot because that's why they come in as Pisces. They really are here to really clear some major karma in that area. We all are here to clear karma. That's why we're here. That's the purpose of our life, practically. So this is an awesome new moon. It's beautiful.
So do we want to jump in and just get rolling on the signs? And we're going to, Madelaine's going to just run through very quickly each of the 12, just kind of give a sentence about the energies. And then we're going to dig into them a little bit more, but just giving you a little taste test. And that way, if you have questions or comments or things that you want to talk about, you can pop it into the chat, and then we'll get to it after a run through of the signs. So, Madelaine, I'm handing it over to you.
Hello. We're starting with Aries. We're going to look at Aries now. What I'm going to talk about is your axis, your Virgo Pisces axis, because in a new moon, any kind of a full moon or new moon, it's going to activate the opposing sign. So, as well as the opposing house as well, the polarity, because we're all here to balance polarities. That's what astrology teaches us. So your Pisces Virgo polarity is where we're victims and where we blame. So what we're going to do is we're going to now forgive ourselves as well. Forgive ourselves. How you clear karma is ho'oponopono, where you love, I'm sorry, I thank you, please forgive me, I love you. So you're going to send divine energy into the dynamic that is repeat, that is trapping you, that you're going to forgive a person or yourself, and both may as well. You can forgive as many people as you want. It's not going to hurt you. So for Aries, Pisces covers your 12th house. This is going to be mostly intense inner evaluation of your issue. You are going to make a deep contact. You are going to go very spiritual. To have Pisces new moon in your 12th house, you're going to have what we call, and again, spiritual awakening. We are evolving into a very powerful spiritual time right now. Don't forget, I need to mention that we're having Jupiter conjunct Neptune in April, as well as Venus coming into its sign of exaltation. So this is all going to be in the 12th house for Aries. So Aries are really going to go through a major spiritual awakening. They may be very introspective right now. They may go very quiet, alone, to reevaluate and to really shift their karma. They're going to become very connected to that cycle, what they do. They're going to be in very strong self-forgiveness. They may feel a tremendous amount of shame. Now, I'm not Christian, but this is what Jesus represents, is to heal your shame. Because you can't go on into the Aries energy if you're not healing your shame. You've got to be high vibrational into the new cycle. Sorry, I'm spending longer time than I thought. Moving on. So Aries are going to forgive themselves and they're going to release their shame. Okay. That's a big part of karma, is releasing the shame. So now we're going to jump into Taurus. Taurus has Pisces over their 11th house. They're going to release their karma around friends, blaming friendships, being the victim in friends group, because then they've got Virgo over their 5th house. So they've got issues with friendships and relationships that they throw themselves under the bus to hold, and then they blame them. And so in Pisces, they're going to stop blaming the person. They're going to become compassionate. They're going to forgive their people that they believe have victimized them, friendships, because that's a friendship relationship group. Okay. So then we're going to run to Gemini. Gemini have Virgo over the 4th house. I have Virgo over my 3rd house. I'm sorry, I take that back. I thought I have Libra over my 4th, but I have my IC in my 3rd. So my mother's there. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no worries.
So Gemini have Virgo over their 4th house, and Pisces over their 10th. So Gemini have a tendency to throw themselves under the bus for their family, not live in integrity for themselves, and they are blaming it on their career. They say, it's my career, I have to do this. So in other words, they manipulate the situation at home to keep everything happy at home, but then they blame whatever anyone gets mad at them. They say it's their career. And so now they're going to forgive themselves for throwing themselves in their career and not balancing family and career. Karma around family, career. I know many Gemini who have that issue.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
now
big
we're
one
going
for
to
a
go.
lot of people.
Yeah. So Cancer have Leo, have Virgo in the 3rd house. So they'll what do we call? They'll throw themselves under the bus and be nice and people pleasy in their communications. And then they get victimized. And the 9th house is beliefs, religion, philosophies. So they'll put their beliefs aside. They'll throw their belief. That's what I did. I hid my psychic abilities in order to be liked by my family and not be judged by my family and who I am as a psychic. And now I stand out in my 9th house and I love myself for being a psychic. And I become more boundary setting with anyone who's disrespectful. And I forgive myself for throwing myself under the bus and not believing in who I truly am. Okay. And so that's an example. So now going to Leo, Virgo in your 2nd house of finances, you throw yourself under the bus for money. You'll throw yourself under the bus to make money or to hold a job. You'll sacrifice yourself because you're fear-based around finances that way. Now we go to Pisces in the 8th house, again, another money house. So Pisces, you're going to forgive yourself for ways that you've thrown yourself under the bus. You're going to trust in a higher power more. Pisces, again, by the way, all of these for everybody is trusting more in a divine power to bring you resources. So Leo are going to start trusting and not throwing themselves under the bus, sacrificing their own happiness for resources and trusting that the divine will bring them. They could have a lucky windfall in finances, by the way. When you shift your karma, honestly, when I do reads on people and I see them shifting their karma, literally I start getting all these abundant cards coming in like boom, 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 because you've shifted your vibration. So your attraction frequency rate is much higher. Okay. So now, yeah. So now we're going to go to Virgo. So this is going to shift your 1st house. Virgo sacrifice themselves, who they are in general, to make people happy. And they put who they truly are under the bus and sacrifice who they are. And then Pisces in the 7th house of relationships. In relationships, they're going to stop blaming and be a victim to relationships. And they're going to stand up and set a fair boundary and not throw themselves under the bus for relationships. And then plus, don't forget, we're materializing in these houses too. As a result, you're going to materialize something in a relationship. You're going to materialize a really beautiful relationship in this. You're going to materialize a higher vibrational, spiritual, divinely amazing. That's why the energies are so amazing. So you're going to see that your control mechanisms in these areas and where you threw yourself under the bus out of not trust in the divine's going to bring you in your divine relationship and going to teach you that you didn't have to control everything and make it, you didn't have to alter yourself. In fact, the more truthful and the more real of who you are, you're going to attract your true divine relationship.
So I'm going to pause
Sure.
right there for 1 sec, Madelaine, because
sure.
One thing I was feeling like maybe to clarify is with everything that you're sharing about these energies, which in the highest vibration of them is amazing.
Yes.
However, there is free will and there is a sense of acknowledgement on your part. So Madelaine is sharing the most beautiful potential that's available to us.
Right.
If you recognize it, if you're willing, if you see it, feel it, experience it, take action and do something around these things. So it's not like it's just magically going to happen and you can just sit on your butt on the couch and just wait. It requires an awareness and action on your part. And in some cases, it may be a little uncomfortable. It may feel really awkward. You're feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay, because you're taking that action and it will all fall into place. So I just wanted to make that one distinction so people aren't thinking, oh, this is what's going to happen because Madelaine said it. It's the highest possibility. It's the most beautiful outcome.
This new moon will probably put a pie in your face where you're creating your karma.
Yeah. So it'll be apparent.
It could, yes. So
Yeah.
you can snap out of it fast by becoming conscious and knowing what's going on, because that's why astrology is so powerful, because you become conscious. So the part of clearing karma, because karma is subconscious. And Pisces is the 12th house, where we become connected and conscious to our subconscious. So this new moon is going to bring up your subconscious truth. And you have a choice to either consciously change that pattern or step into another cycle of this repeat karma. So the universe is giving you a chance. I think most people are going to step out of that cycle in this new moon. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that there's a sensitivity going on with Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces planets coming up. So I think we're all being pushed to raise our frequencies and to really clear this last little bit of karma that's stopping us from being the higher manifestors that we're here to be. In all
I feel that too, Madelaine.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I definitely
So I
do.
have a lot of faith in humanity right now. I think these energies
Yeah.
are pushing the most beautiful aspects out of humanity. And from the reads I'm doing, I'm shifting people's karmas. I'm shifting people out of really intense lawsuits with other people by clearing their karma with that person. And it's totally shifting the whole entire result for them. They're getting amazing financially, like lawsuits around money and houses and property and divorces. And they're suddenly getting all these abundant cars because they pulled out of the fight dynamic and being a victim in the situation. And they're seeing almost instant, they say instant karma is like instant improvement. So you have the opportunity here to really shift a situation into your higher vibrational reality. It's amazing.
Cool. It is cool. Okay. So Libra, sorry to derail you for a sec.
So Libra, no worries. So Libra have Virgo in the 12th house. So that would indicate that Libra will throw their spiritual beliefs to please other people. They will believe whatever the popular belief is. They'll believe if they're in a group of people and everyone's skeptic, they'll be a skeptic. If they're in a room with everybody that believes in philosophy, they'll believe in philosophy. But Libras tend to go with whatever everybody's doing. It's a beautiful thing. It makes fantastic diplomats. It's a beautiful thing. However, they divide from their true. They don't, after a while of doing this, you don't know what your true belief is. You don't know what your true spiritual stance is. So in this Virgo axis is you're gonna, and then you've got Pisces, Libra in your 6th house. So you might shift to a spiritual awakening that doing this on a day-to-day level is throwing you very much out of course of who you truly are, and not knowing of your true conscious, you not have a conscious awareness of what your truth is. So with Pisces in the 6th house, they're going to shift and they're going to change their life to an everyday to day. It could also shift their job. It could shift their career, but somehow they might develop a spiritual practice that aligns them. They're going to develop a more way of staying more in touch with what they truly believe, their philosophy. But again, they're going to let go of just willy-nilly going with whatever everybody thinks. And because that's throwing themselves under the bus. That's not following their own integrity, their own real truth. They have not connected to that. So they're going to connect to that. And then they're going to activate it. They're going to probably take up a spiritual practice. They're going to see that it actually is the healing. It's very healing. They may heal that fear of being a person that has to make everybody else happy. They're going to start on a day-to-day basis, practicing their own truth, their spiritual truth. Scorpio. We've got Virgo in your 11th house. So Scorpio throw themselves under the bus to be popular. Not to put it like that. That sounds kind of critical, but that just in a crunch period, we're going to be a little bit to the point. And then Pisces in the 5th house is healing. Pisces energy over the 5th house. You're going to start attracting more spiritually based relationships that you don't have to throw yourself under the bus to make happy. And you're going to be more in alignment with that. You're going to have new friendships. You could get a new relationship. You might get into your divine relationship at that point, because these are the energies that are blocking you from being in your divine energies, your divine mate, because you're not loving yourself. You got to love yourself fully to be in relationship with your true love, because that is the energy of zero fear. And it's the energy of love. With high vibrational love is not fear-based. So you're not trying to alter yourself to keep the friendships. Okay. What do we call it? Distort who you are. Sagittarius, woohoo. Virgo is in your 10th house. So you throw yourself under the bus and distort who you are so you can keep your career. You think you've got to distort who you are and what you're doing, and you got to throw yourself under the bus. You got to hold on to that career, that job, no matter what. You got to make everybody happy or you're going to lose the job. Now you're going to go to Pisces, 4th house, spiritual, home, grounded, truth, confident. There could be a windfall. By the way, all these houses that Pisces covers in your chart, you're going to get a lot of spiritual assistance. So maybe Pisces, Sagittarius are going to be more confident about their home, grounding in their situation. You could have a new start with your true love in a home situation because you now are release that fear, focus on career, and you're kind of relaxing at home, and you're going to get integrated with your home life more and family life, and not be so driven career, because a lot of Saggies are like that because they've got Virgo in their 10th house. So, and they have Capricorn over their 2nd house, so they're always in fear of control of finances. So
you speak about this as if you know exactly what that's like.
Guilty as charged. So you create karma that way. You know, you're creating relationships that aren't good for you, but you're holding on to them because you think your career needs it. So anyways, you're releasing that, letting go, trusting, being more at home. Family, you could initiate a new family, a new homeland, could move, all that stuff. Capricorns have Pisces over their 3rd house and Virgo over their 9th. So Capricorn are throw themselves under the bus in similar, I suppose you could say, to the Libra way, where they belief again, where they just again throw themselves under the bus. I know Capricorn are kind of like this. They'll believe whatever controls the situation. Like they're Capricorn, they control everything. They have that right now they've got Pluto in their ascendant. So they've come to learn to involve and co-create with spirit, not just their own self. They've got this ego. Doesn't mean they think they're the biggest thing on the planet, but they think that what they control, they've got to control it all and they make it happen, but they forget that actually spirit is 50% of your materializing power, right? So they're going to wake up to relaxing in their communication. Pisces over the 3rd house is challenging anyway. It's a little bit of a communication stuttery. So they're going to be more calm, more relaxed, and not try, you know, with all these things going on with the COVID thing and people not believing in this and believing in that and what side are you on, they're probably going to bail out of that whole thing and just be calm and peaceful communication and relaxed and say, yeah, this, you know what I think, or I don't know what I think yet. I'm not going to go to any side yet on anything. I'm reevaluating, and that's okay. I don't have to join in with what you believe so I can control the situation. That kind of a thing. Aquarius have Pisces over their 2nd house. So they're clearing karma around finances, and they throw themselves under the bus in the 8th house. So Aquarians will throw themselves under the bus for outside finances or to control finances or sex, 8th house of sexuality. So they might be throwing themselves a little under the bus. They could they could have a windfall of money because it's in their 2nd house. Pisces, we got so many powerful energies, so they could have a real increase in their finances through stopping throwing themselves under the bus to control their credit or control their or debt. They might have debt issues because the Virgo throw themselves under the bus. This is very much a fear of financial control access. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely, maybe they're afraid, they throw themselves on the bus and they don't allow themselves to get a loan. Like they suffer really hard. So they won't, because they don't want to go in debt. So maybe they relax a little, go in debt. It increases their finances. They decide that they're being too polarized around this. They take a little bit of a loan and it put it into their work field. And then it increases maybe they do a marketing thing and it increases their exposure. And then they earn wonderful money. Like they just needed to trust it's okay to get a little bit in debt, or to, you know, maybe they pull out of a debt and they have a shift in their income too. New moons in your 2nd house is a very shift of income, and you become more spiritually trusting and you let go of trying to control your finances so much, that kind of a thing. You relax around that. So then we got Pisces in your 1st house. You're very much clearing a total karma there. You're really releasing, because you have Virgo over your 7th house of relationships. So you're going to stop throwing yourself under the bus for relationships. You're going to be your truth, and you're humbled, failed. When I say failed, I mean, the part of the Pisces thing is to allow yourself to be a flawed, vulnerable individual, and to be flawed and not perfect and incapable. And you forgive yourself for it. You forgive yourself for failing, and you know that you threw yourself under the bus because you tried to control the whole thing, and you tried to make everybody happy, and it just made you miserably unhappy. So you're going to accept yourself for who you truly are, failures and all, and faults and all, and you ask your relationships to take you as you are. That was your 12 signs.
Wow. So I have questions.
Okay.
I don't have any, I'm not sure about questions in the chat at this moment. There's nothing I see. So I'm going to go with, and I know, actually, I also want to give an opportunity here, because I know, Madelaine, you had a couple of gals with you. One, I believe, had to take off. I don't know.
Yeah, Heidi's still here though.
Okay,
Heidi,
so I don't know if they, before I chime in with questions, perhaps they have some questions based on everything that you.
Does Heidi have
shared.
a question?
They don't need to come on camera if they don't want to. They can just.
She's coming on
Okay,
camera.
okay.
Heidi is a singing bowl extraordinaire. She's the singing bowl lady. You can come sit next to me. Here's Heidi.
All right. Hi, Heidi. So do you have any
She's
questions?
Aquarius.
Oh, so you're Aquarius. Okay. So do you have any questions about what Madelaine shared? And do you feel like what she was sharing about the financial aspects of Aquarius, did that resonate with you? Did you feel that? Can you share with us a little bit about that experience for you?
Well, I was in and out, so I didn't hear the whole thing. Sorry. But, you know, yeah, I resonate with, yeah, I guess I can't really say right now.
I'll just tell you what Aquarius is.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
I'll
it's
give
the
her a
finance
repeat.
of throwing under the bus.
Yeah, in other
because-
words, throwing yourself under the bus around your finances, not necessarily, and then a forgiveness about how you to the self, and aligning with more faith around your money.
Well,
I think you're doing that.
Well, the funny thing is, yeah, I'm in that right now.
Yes.
Like I'm like,
Okay.
I'm like, basically that's me in the nutshell right this second. And
Yeah.
I'm really in the forgiveness stage. And as soon as, you know, next time you guys are online, I'll be having another story, because I really am ready. Like I'm ready, because now that I'm understanding all these things, and the forgiveness part is huge. I have been doing this my whole life. So now that I have some tools, and thankfully understanding of why I've been doing this, and that I have a control to stop it.
Yeah, I've really
that's-
noticed, sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you,
no.
but I've really noticed her stepping into faith about the finance. In fact, she's giving me faith. Her faith in our finances right now is giving me faith. And I've really noticed her taking actions and doing things and planning things. And because Aquarians are amazing. She's the one who sets up all these parties and everything. She's like a social butterfly, this girl. She knows everybody. And she's like magic about it. And so she's not even worried about the money. We're charging this. This is how much it's going to cost. And it's like, whoa, you have so much faith in finances. She's not like all, she does have Jupiter in her second house, and they tend to be more free with money, but she's really not like free or control about her finances. She's trusting in a universe right now, which I really see that.
I'm coming into that.
Yeah.
But it's been a while, and it's been only because I've started to understand this through the teachings that Madelaine explained to me. So yeah, it's time for all of us.
She's got a lot of courage, and I love it.
Yeah. And I think too, especially with that Aquarius, I mean, knowledge is power in general, but when you have Aquarius in your chart prominently, like you do with your sun, forget about Mercury and other aspects too. Yeah. Just that, you're going to be inquisitive. You're going to be curious. And when you learn something, I find, at least with Aquarians, and I know when they learn something, they may not be, and I think we talked about this before, Madelaine, they may not be early adopters, but they're going to sit with it a little, and they're going to feel into it, and they're going to know what's true for them. And it sounds like that's happening for you. And I hope that you, if you're not joining live for the full moon in a couple weeks, if you are not, like, join online and type in and let us know, because I think the best way for people who watch to really learn is from their own personal experience and hearing stories from other people. Stories are magic when it comes to transformation and people to be able to feel like they can connect in. I mean, Madelaine can share all of the nuts and bolts of it, and I can throw in a little bit of intuitive guidance and some thoughts here and there, but with stories and hearing about personal experiences, and people are like, oh wow, well, if she could do that, then I can do that. And I'm also an Aquarius sun, so that makes total sense. And it just, I don't know, it's almost like the sense of community and camaraderie, like we're all like arm in arm, hooked at the elbow, like we're marching down the road together, kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting you say that, because we're entering into the age of Aquarius, hence Aquarian powerful women like her are going to lead the world into the new era. That's what Aquarians are here to do. And it is, and astrology is the 11th house as well as the 9th house, which is a galvanizing power, because we are all under the same influence. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on or what you believe spiritually, the stars, we're all under this together. That's what Aquarius is, the energy of getting everyone together, because that's astrology. It pulls us all together. We're not set. None of us are going through it's like a very collective thing. It's the collective.
Yeah.
So
all very connected. I totally. I mean, and you're right. No
stories,
matter.
You're right. Stories is a really wonderful way. My astrology teacher talks about stories a lot so that we understand these transits more. So if we had more time, but going into stories can take a long time, and you only really do it over. I mean, to go through all the 12 houses with stories is a long time, but stories.
But I feel like it's always perfect in whatever stories are shared on the time that we have on these lives, that it's a story that somebody that's going to listen later needs to hear. Like it's perfect. And it's interesting. I normally don't tune in energetically to everybody in my circle when we do these, because if I did, my brain would explode.
Right.
But something came in when you were talking about lawsuits today. So if you don't mind, unless there's something else that Heidi wanted to share or something else you wanted to share, Madelaine.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So lawsuit, you were talking about karmic relationships with lawsuits. So one of my sisters is in, and I hope it's okay. I think it's fine to talk. It's fine to talk about this. Is in the middle of a lawsuit right now with it was a car accident where there was zero damage done. It was one of those where, how you just kind of like tap. It has turned into this entire unbelievably ridiculous lawsuit where someone is claiming all sorts of things. Okay. And I was thinking, okay, when you mentioned lawsuits and karmic relationships, was thinking about how is this woman and my sister, how are they karmically intertwined? Because clearly they are. So when it comes to, from what you're seeing in the stars and what you're seeing through card reads, with these sorts of karmic relationships with lawsuits, and my sister is a Pisces sun, by the way, also.
She's going through this right now. You see what I'm telling you? All these people are going through these lawsuit situations to face their karma.
Yeah. So what would you say, not knowing, of course, any of the details or any of that, what would you say is the lesson for her? Because I've got a couple of feelings, but I'm curious what you have to say.
Very easy. She's in the situation is apparently unfair, right?
Yeah.
According to her. So in her mind, she's a victim and this person has power. This person has power and she's in an unfair situation, and this person has power, and this lawsuit is really awful, and she's this awful victim, and she's just, there's all too powerful, especially with lawsuits and courts. That's a big one for karma, because you're now really a victim. You really have no power. You're really just, I'm just completely effed. Not true. Not true. She stands up energetically and says, this is not fair. I will not be victim. I will speak my truth on my side of the story, and I will be heard. And it will not be, this is not fair. Here's what's true. This happened and this happened. And then you go to the judge or whoever you're dealing with. I expect a just and fair, balanced result. I no longer cooperate as victim in this energy. You don't need to know any of the details. What you do is you say, okay, this is true what she says, that I did that and this happened. That is true. This is not true. I'm sticking up for myself. See, I don't have the karma of being, I hate to say this, but violated by a man physically. Okay. This is not a bit, I have other karma. I'm not saying I'm free of karma.
Oh, sure. Everyone has.
But I've had situations as a child and a young teenager where men attempted to violate me sexually or physically. Now, I know a lot of women go through this, and I'm not being insensitive. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, that wasn't my karma. And I turned around and I went, no. And I looked them in the face. I said, no, I'm not a victim. I did not give them the pleasure of that power position, because that's what they're doing. They really enjoy the power and they really like the victim. because a victim has no power. They get a rise off that. So you show your power. Nobody gets a perpetrator high. So the person knew, they literally, every time I did that with one of these men, they would drop and say, backed off on this one. And I didn't get violated. And I was in very vulnerable. It was in a taxi in Naples, Italy, which is one of the worst violent cities in Italy. Yeah. And I was by myself at midnight at 14 years old. And it was a really bad situation because we got stuck it's a long story. I don't want to go into it, but I got in a taxi with this person and he started driving me way off to where the port he was supposed to take me. And I said, you're taking me the wrong way. You got to take me the right way now. And he literally went, oh. And then another time a person tried to kidnap me and I saw and I knew, and I said, no, I don't play victim in this dynamic for whatever reason. I've already learned this lesson. It doesn't mean I haven't got other karma lessons, because I do, but I saw this, I knew it. And I said, I don't play victim in this dynamic. I turned away and I hid in a group of old ladies and I could see him looking for me. He was going to throw me in the back of a car. And this is when I'm 9, 10. And I was coming out of my ballet class in Milano in Italy, and I was walking home and this guy got in his car and I knew he was going to hurt me. I didn't know it was sexual or whatever, but at that point, and this is how I know that I have cleared that karma. I don't play victim in this dynamic. And I experienced when you stick up for yourself, you don't play out that victim role. So your sister has to say, I don't put me victim. This is not fair. All she has to do is say, this is not fair and balanced.
So it's interesting. So this case is going to be dragging on for at least another year, a year and a half, based on the timetable.
Very fast.
So I'm thinking for anyone who may be in a similar situation with the lawsuit that's active, but not active in the sense that you have to show up in court right this minute.
Right.
It may be just energetically declaring.
That's right.
I stand in my power. And I will say, too, in other areas of her life, she's had to do this. The only thing that I'm seeing is that she's been pulling other people in to support her.
Right, because she doesn't believe in her own power.
Well, I don't know if it's that necessarily, where it's like
what she has to do is an energetic thing. It's a truly energetic thing. She's got to pull out of the victim. Mm-hmm. She has to know that there's a fair and balanced result and that the universe is on her side, on the side of fair and balanced results. And she won't be a victim here. This is not about that. This is about her standing up for herself, not throwing herself under the bus, and not playing this, not giving power to the courts and the other person, because you can have a really fair like a court case where you feel like you're in your favor and you've got a really strong situation, but your karma is victim and you're afraid of the courts and you're afraid of it going the other way, and you're going to manifest that so the universe can show you, stop playing victim. That's what it's all about.
It seems too that it's the courts are one area for sure, but it can show up in like you mentioned, with all these different signs in all different ways.
Your father, you can be a victim to a domineering parent, where you keep allowing a domineering parent to make you feel small and unempowered. You stop doing that. You stop giving that parent that illusionary, because by the way, the perpetrator has this illusionary idea that they're in power, and you have an illusionary idea that they have power. Yes. But the truth is your energy is what's your true power, your frequency vibration. So what you're fearing, you're going to manifest. So you got to pull out of this victim dynamic where I have no power and I'm going to be victimized and I'm going to be hurt.
I'd like to extend or expand on this just a little bit when it comes to karma. Another way of thinking about karma is old fear. So whether you believe in past lives or you...
Oh, no, this is all past life. It's also your position.
Well, and I agree with that, but people listening may not be on board with the past life thing. So you don't even have to go into past lives. You can just look at this life.
Doesn't matter. But
it's old fear. And when it comes to, over and over, you will likely see the patterns playing out in your life. Also with karma is all about balance. It's that you do a good deed will come to you. You do a not so good deed, not so good will come to you, sort of energy. So if you think about things in your life where you feel like the victim, or you feel like somehow you are being badly done to, the likelihood is that you at some time were the perpetrator.
That's right.
And
if
you can remember that whatever's happening in your life that you don't like or that you're not enjoying, it's a balance of the scales. It is
That's right.
Either you have had this experience in some life or at some point in your life, or it's something that you have done somewhere else. And so I think that may help people who were really caught up in the idea of like, but no, this is happening to me.
When you forgive your perpetrator, you're forgiving yourself for having been the perpetrator before. Because the reason you have this, like your sister has this karmic balance with this person, where she was once in one life the perpetrator. So that's why you forgive the perpetrator, because you understand that you made the perpetrator because you were made the perpetrator before. Like I'm not saying the perpetrator isn't also agreeing to this dynamic, and you are.
Of course.
But if you're the victim of some situation, you have been perpetrator, and you are also here to learn to forgive perpetrator, because you're here to learn to take responsibility for you having been agreeing to give them that power.
Yeah.
And yes, it is absolutely repeat cycle. If you've raped somebody in a life, it's a good chance you're going to be raped, because you have to forgive the rapist, because you have to understand that you took advantage of a victim energy, a non-powerful person to experience power. And so you've got to forgive that person for being in that trap as well, and that you fed that illusionary win.
Yeah.
And so
we're not, and please don't anyone comment about, we're not condoning that. We're not saying it's okay. We're not, we're nothing like that. We're talking about these in more broad karmic energetic strokes. And the perpetrator could have done you harm and did do bad. That's not what I'm saying. Like, these people aren't being fair, but you've got to pull out of that co-materializing, because you're here to learn that you're a co-materializer. And that what you materialize, the more you learn that you're responsible for what you materialize, the more you have power to materialize better. And the universe wants you to know that you have the choice and you have power in this situation. You have power. So by forgiving the perpetrator, you're taking their power away. You stop giving them that power. And guess who has the power then? You. You have it. Okay, another question. So you were talking about the it's a Capricorn question. So, Capricorn, they're hard workers. They actually will overdo the work. They are super hyper focused on advancing themselves, usually in their careers, something having to do with finances. There's all of that wrapped up in one.
Focused. Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to this particular new moon energy, for any Capricorns out there, and I have a couple of ones in my life, one in particular that I'm thinking of now, with the belief around controlling different aspects of career in order to have financial gain. What I'm finding with those in my life, Capricorns in my life, is that, and for anyone listening, when it comes to that, it's so hard for them to shift their mindset, and then thusly their actions outside of what they're used to, which is, let me come up with a plan. I'm even going to take a course. I'm even going to follow this person, and they're telling me I'm going to do this, this, and this, and that's going to get me that. I'm doing that and it's not working, and I'm getting frustrated and I'm getting annoyed. So what I'm kind of feeling is there's nothing wrong with having a plan, and there's nothing wrong with taking action. It's letting go of the outcome and being open to the possibilities of faith and trust, and going with what somewhere within you is the right path, if you will. Having faith and trust that everything is going to work out, knowing that it will, and turning to spiritual guidance and maybe even some manifestation techniques, law of attraction, belief system. Well, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with this, but it's I can
help you here.
Yeah.
What happens with Capricorn is you're right. They do the planning, they work hard, and they think when everything goes well that it was them. They forget that they're co-creators. Everybody, we're all here as co-creators. They didn't invite in spirit energy. They didn't align with so the goat, the Capricorn is the goat that works really hard, but they're looking at the ground. They don't stop to look up and make sure that they're in alignment with their universal destiny, with their purpose. They don't check to make sure this is where I'm supposed to align this work energy with the universe. A co-creation, we're here to manifest, but we're not here. We're not the soul manifester. We manifest with spirit, and if you don't believe in the unseen forces, with an intuitive guidance. Now, Capricorn have Taurus over their 5th house. Taurus usually is a very strong guide to how you make money. It can really show you. So Capricorn are here to learn to stop being so controlling and put creative joy. When they flow into a more creative joy in their work, they let go of that fear of them being soul manifestors. So they then fall into a relaxed state and play. And that throws them into a more letting go of control and trusting. They won't take creative risks because they want it to be secure.
Yeah.
So they don't trust. So the more creative, when you match your Capricorn energy with the Taurus creative house, you're on fire. Forget it. As soon as the Capricorn stops looking at the ground and just working really hard like this, just working really hard and thinking that's going to be enough and that's going to get them where they want to go, they don't. They assume they'll meet a wall. All Capricorns do. This is their karma here, is to learn that there is a spiritual force in the world that they have to work with, and that they're working hard for the good of everyone, not just to make sure you've got a job and you're good and you're safe. You're supposed to work hard. And by the way, Capricorns are very blessed because they've got that ability, but they're supposed to partner it with creativity and trust in the universe, like you were saying, and to use that energy to co-create something good for the highest good of all, rather than just your own security. So the universe is telling you, yes, we gave you all that power to work hard and good, to put with a universal good, not just for your security, because the universe is going to say, no, this wasn't all of what you were supposed to use that with.
Yeah.
You're supposed to partner that with some creativity, which means you trust.
Yeah.
And I have an ex-husband who's Capricorn rising, and he's finally woken up, because I've been talking to him about, he's finally woken up to start taking more risks in his career and to go more creative and to take on more creative projects and to reach for that. And it's happening for him, and he's doing so much better. So he's not always working and taking secure based jobs, he works in music and he's doing TV music. And now he's trusting in he's opening up to making more creative choices and trusting that will feed him financially. So the Capricorn has to trust that they don't see how the money's coming, but to keep going, it's inspiring them and follow that fire. The money will come, to trust in the universe and to not just be guided by secure based choices. That is the lesson for Capricorn, to start risking, to start trusting that but also to follow intuition, not just the nose to the grindstone energy. Yeah. Because you're going like this, and you can be going way offline. And then they put their head up and they go, where the heck am I? This is not what I was supposed to be doing. I'm working really, really hard, and I'm a slave to this. I've just grounded myself into this workhorse thing. And it's like, no, we love that workforce energy, but put it in alignment with your true destiny. And then you're working with the other forces involved, which in astrology teaches us to work with air, water, earth, and fire. So the Capricorn just thinks, well, I'm enough with this hard work. That's going to be enough. It's like universe is going, no, we want to partner with you. We want to co-create with you. And how you're going to do it is you're going to put more joy, more fun. You're going to relax, and you're going to add that in. So you were catching on to that very strong with what you were saying. And so they just have to let go and trust universe and have more fun and not work, not nose to the grindstone, without looking up and making sure they're going the right way.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like also it's those things. And then one in particular, my guy is Pisces rising. So there's also this sense of more alignment or attunement with himself, really checking in with himself.
Yes, that's your guidance. That is aligning with the universe. When you do that, you are connecting to spirit, because I believe your intuition is spirit. That's my own personal belief.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, in his case anyway, and maybe this relates to someone that's listening too, is when it comes to your biggest fear places. So the financial piece in a Capricorn's case, that's, security.
Right.
And saying no to something because it doesn't actually align with you.
That's right.
And knowing that it's going to be okay, and not just grabbing whatever is there because you're scared there won't be something else.
That's right.
It's really like, feel into this opportunity. Is it something that really aligns or not.
Right.
And most people know,
Right.
you
because
know.
Capricorn have Pisces over their third house. Their intuitive energies are Scorpio over their 11th. They've got Virgo over their 9th. So, these are where they need to learn to tap into less their ego, which is mind control, and partner that, not lose it, because it's a great materializing energy.
Yeah.
But to partner it with the higher forces to get spiritual guidance in your journey and to align your energies to the right path, which is for the highest. Really, there, when they do this, Capricorn rides to the top of the mountain, because the goat is climbing the mountain, and they rise to the top of the mountain in their glory and light of the divine. They can be some of the most glorious people, because they've stopped working for security energy and put it for God, to help God or to help the universe. And
everyone.
Yes.
And at the same time themselves, because that's the thing. Like, I think,
right. They
a lot,
discover, that's how they wake up. They discover, wow, there was other help. There was help. And there was, look at the glory of what I was able to do by co-creating rather than solo creating.
Well, and I think too, again, we're talking about balance. It's a balance between self and others. And, you can talk about, we're all connected, we're all one, all of that. But for some people, they can't really wrap their head around that. And it's not about giving everything away, and not about always for the other. You have to look out for yourself, but consider the other, and also consider the balance that may need to take place, and your actions and how you operate in life. You may feel the other end of that at some point and go, wait, this isn't fair. This isn't right. This isn't just. But really, you have forgotten you did the exact same thing before. And so when it's in your day-to-day, the way you operate in life, it's put out what it is that you'd like to bring back in. That generosity of spirit, while also honoring yourself. Don't give everything away, honor where you are, but also strike that balance. And I think that's going to look and feel a little differently for each of us. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's in your chart. Study your chart. I mean, that's how I did it. I mean, I really, really focused on I've got 3 planets in Capricorn. I had a marriage where I put my nose to the grindstone. I tried to have my Venus in Capricorn. So I will work and do everything I can to make that marriage work, even if and it was the wrong marriage. It wasn't my true divine love, but I will give it everything. I'll work. It's like my nose to the grindstone, and I wasn't seeing if it was the right thing. And it wasn't. And I threw myself out of alignment for many years. And that's when I knew there was God in this choice or spirit or something powerful, more powerful than me, because I did everything I could to make that marriage work. I would have done everything. I did everything. I went to every 12-step program. I made a perfect body. I did everything. And that's when I realized it wasn't divinely intended. Divine is the true decider. And that's what Capricorn is here to learn to do, is to work with the divine and put that energy in alignment with what was divinely intended. Your career, your divine work, your divine relationship. It's in your astrology chart. There's an ego choice, and there's the one that's truly divinely intended for you, a truly divinely intended career, and a truly divinely intended friends, and truly divinely intended relationship. Because love is of unseen force. It's an energy. It's not a control ego choice. Right. And so Capricorn will make control ego choices and not open up to the divine guidance choice. So that's the Capricorn journey, is that karma of releasing control and trusting in divine providing this relationship that is divinely intended for me. So, and get out of me trying to make manipulating choices to hold on to a relationship that isn't divinely intended for me.
Yeah. Oh, how many of us do that, regardless of chart placement?
Venus Capricorn, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So I don't know, is there anything else that you wanted to share, or anything else that we want to?
Just that there's this Neptune Pisces is just going to be a magic energy. As soon as Jupiter comes out of its hiding spot, it's going to be really powerful for Jupiter ruled people. April's going to be really, really mesmerizing, blessed, very spiritual. Neptune and Pisces, Neptune Jupiter conjunctions is 156. It takes Neptune to circle. So the last time Pisces and Neptune were conjoined was in, I should go find out the year if we'll do a post on that, but it was 156 years ago. So we're shifting spiritual. We're coming into more spiritually enlightened times. We're waking up because the solution in fighting everything that's going on in the world is not in fighting, it's in spiritualism, because it's through the spiritual, and we're going to clear all that sort of collective karma of fighting. So we're shifting into this really more glorious era where we're becoming more spiritual. And that can mean many things. It doesn't just mean that you believe in religion or what we talk about. It's sort of pulling out of a blaming, war fighty energy, and we're shifting into that solution, like in resistance to government control and stuff. It's not going to be achieved through fighting them or through blocking them or creating a conflict. It's going to be achieved through forgiving them and not letting them take your power away.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how things play out in Russia and the Ukraine.
And I think you're going to see a lot of people become very spiritual in their behaviors, which means more Jesus-like. I mean, because Jesus is the Pisces energy. Jesus represents that. And I'm not Christian, but I do love the energy of Pisces and Jesus and all of that. I think it's beautiful. And I think that's the energy that's going to sort of, something crazy could happen. I mean, I don't believe in some of these crazy, prophecies. Sometimes they seem really wild, but I do think that something very prophetic and magical will happen for all of us in that month of April. It's going to be magic. We've got Venus in its exaltation, Jupiter in its own rulership, Neptune in the sign of its own rulership, all conjoining. I mean, this is magic.
So lots to look forward to with this upcoming new moon next week, in addition to what's coming in April. So yeah, really, really powerful time.
Yes,
so
everybody's going to have a lot more faith. We're looking at faith in the power of the forces of the universe being our assistance, being our helper, being there for us, our salvation, shifting our salvation from the material to the spiritual. That's the spiritual shift.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, as always, Madelaine, such a pleasure. Super, super fun. And we'll be here in 2 weeks. This will be up for a little while. We'll be
maybe a Virgo full moon. Wait, yeah, it might be a Virgo full moon, which will be interesting. It'll be a continuing of this conversation for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yes, I'm Amalia with Madelaine. We thank you so much for being here with us today, and we will see you on the next